Alright, now that Halloween is over, quick question, why do we love being scared so much? Because you'd think after surviving a deadly pandemic, a man-baby with access to nuclear codes, and society being pushed to the brink that we would tire of having our blood pressure spike all the time, but no. Clearly we love having the crap scared out of us, even when life seems hell-bent on doing it for us. In fact, we love it so much that during a deadly pandemic, one of the most trending movies on Netflix was a movie about a deadly pandemic.
Granted, a year and a half later, that same film isn't so much a suspense thriller anymore as it is a fantasy about the country actually getting its shit together, forming a coordinated and effective response, and then imposing vaccine mandates as soon as one developed. It's absolutely wild. But that example in particular gives us a number of insights as to the science and psychology behind our apparent masochism. For starters, fear and anxiety isn't just a cognitive process. Your brain sends a fear signal and then your entire body gets involved. Your heart rate and blood pressure increase, your pupils dilate. All your senses go into overdrive thanks to a cocktail of hormones poured right into your bloodstream. And many of those hormones affect the body like a drug, from the stimulation you get from epinephrine or adrenaline, to the sense of reward and accomplishment you get from dopamine, to the giddiness and euphoria that you get from endorphins. This response evolved from our dangerous and chaotic origins as a species, one where crossing the wrong animal, the wrong environment, or the wrong rival tribe could have deadly consequences. And as any adrenaline junkie will tell you, this neurochemical cocktail produces some extraordinary physical results. You run faster, you jump higher, you react quicker, all because your body is instinctually primed to fight for your survival. Then, once the immediate sense of danger subsides, the euphoric rush of endorphins is basically your body's way of thanking you for keeping it alive. That's because repeat exposure to stress hormones, as many an anxious person will tell you, carries side effects like chronic pain, decreased immune response, stomach issues, sleep problems, and so on. Thus, this post-danger flood of hormones is designed to help bring you back to a place of calm and happiness, rather than continue living in this heightened and anxious state.
There's also a difference between the neutered fear we experience in controlled settings and the actual fear we experience in dangerous situations. Because your brain knows deep down that there's no actual danger, you get more of the endorphin buzz and less of the whole uptight adrenaline situation. If you pay attention in those settings, you can actually see it happen in real time. Watch.
They're new here, so scare them. Scare them.
Oh, Jesus.
Also, have you ever noticed how much horror movies love to call attention to all the various conventions and tropes of horror movies?
This is still a script we're talking about.
No, please don't kill me, Mr. Ghostface. I want to be in the sequel.
It's almost as if the filmmakers are winking and nudging at you going, hey, it's okay, it's just a film.
But there's one more aspect of this genre that's worth examining, because, as any fan of horror will tell you, doing it well is about way more than building suspense to a good jump scare. It's also about exploring the darkest parts of our nature and our existence.
And it's been that way for as long as we've told scary stories around a campfire. Undead zombies and vampires help us understand that there are worse things than death. Monsters lurking in the woods or the outdoors remind us of the wild and uncontrollable side of nature. The trope of a tragic incident or an Indian burial ground haunting a house helps us confront the horrors of our past. Serial killer slashers help us reckon with the fact that there is a potential killer instinct in all of us, as well as the people who surround us. Man-made creatures and plagues warn us of the dangers of scientific hubris. And zombie apocalypses show just how much the act of survival can regress us back to our most animalistic impulses. And now we even have filmmakers using the horror genre to confront themes of racism, misogyny, and homophobia. In that regard, horror as a genre is way more than just a cheap thrill. It's also a controlled and safe space for us to face the darkest parts of us and our society. Because, as any mental health professional will tell you, what you find scary says a lot about who you are as a person. And in a lot of cases, the only way to grow is to run towards the things that scare you and confront them. And then, as we watch one or more characters learn to overcome the horrors they face on screen, we get a roadmap for how to tackle those obstacles IRL, sometimes quite literally. So in the spirit of personal growth, let's keep the vibes of spooky season alive and enjoy some more chills and thrills.